and welcome to Mirador Television. We are the biggest little TV in the world, based in Lewes, East Sussex in England. Our aim is to entertain and to spice things up a little. We will also keep an eye on the local politics, because let's face it, someone has to. Our programs range from stories about the local people to stories about people from all the way across the pond. Brought to you by our wonderful colleagues in New York. So why not sit back, relax with your favourite cuppa, or maybe your favourite tipple, and enjoy. This is Mirador Television.
Well, there we are. That's who we are and where we are. Keith Hayes with Mirador Television, and what a week it's been. Much interrupted, I'm afraid. We didn't make it to air yesterday, which is a very, very rare thing for Mirador, but it was because I was languishing in hospital and enjoying the attention of nurses and doctors. I'm happy to say. I'm happy to say, I don't know whether anybody else is happy, that I'm not too badly off. I'm going to live. But it was essential that we, let's see if we can do that here. It was essential that I was looked after for 24 hours, and I couldn't do two things at once. And that's the big problem with the small television, is you can't do two things at once, but we try very hard. And I'm slowly getting a very good support team around me again. So we will be fulfilling our promises very, very quickly. But not today, because we do plan to start this half hour with Rouser Radio. And once again, it's the technical bits that have prevented us from doing that. But we are getting our technicians in now. Partly, the system has gone to pot because we couldn't have people into the studio because of COVID. And now that things are being relaxed a little bit, we're able to do that. So we can start to get our act together, and hopefully, I keep on saying that it's all going to come together, but bit by bit, because we are able to. And who could have predicted that I would, youngster, could go to had to go hospital, but here I am still. Somebody said, "Well, you look all right, Keith." And indeed I do. But I do creak a little. I am no spring chicken anymore, much as I would like to. I flirted with the lovely lady at the train station this morning, and she flirted back because she's known me for a long time. And then I'm sure, my duty done for the day. But it makes an old man feel good. So let's just, we're going to sort of skip through a few things this morning because I'm only going to broadcast for half an hour so that we can get things right and that we can really get cracking properly on Monday with our full schedule of programs. And we have got a full schedule. We've been working very hard in the background. And that's part of the problem is we have been working very hard and perhaps too hard. But there we are. We believe in what we do. We believe in local television. And we are determined that we shall provide a service. We keep on talking to people and asking people to find out what they want so that we can provide it. And we are getting closer and closer to a good local service. So bear with us. Don't totally reject us. I mean, you may want to switch off from time to time. I don't blame you, but do bear with us. Now let's have a look at the news headlines this morning. The NHS, right? I've just been in hospital. Doctors, nurses, therapists, all the functioning people, first class. Administration, when will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Is everything went tickety-boo with me in hospital until the very last second when because of the nature of my illness, transport was supposed to be arranged. Nurses got it all down to a fine art and so on and so forth, phoned up for the transport. Oh, it's not available for another 6 hours. I mean, that's the sort of thing. That's nothing to do with the medical staff. That's to do with, and I'm going to sneeze. So forgive me. Oh, there we go. There's a sneeze in the air. Oh, there's some dust in the studio or something of that sort. But the administration let the staff down, and then of course what we tend to do is just blame the NHS as such. But it is two divisions. There's the administrators, and there's the medical staff, the people that pay attention to you. And the medical staff you cannot fault. They are first class. I got first class treatment. I was looked after. And all along the way, it was explained to me what was happening. I think it's brilliant. So how did I get there? Well, first of all, I did what we are all instructed to do. I tried to call my surgery, right? This is the new administration that's put together by the administrators, not the medical people. So we've now got something called the infirmary or firmament or something of the sort, which is a brand new operation with bags of doctors and bags of nurses and bags of this and bags of that, all put together under one umbrella. Well, it's not just me. If you look at social media, everybody's having the same thing. Can you get through? No, you cannot get through. So I hung on for, in this case, only 12 minutes. The time before, it had been, I abandoned one. You are 20th in the queue and your wait is 40 minutes. I mean, it just starts to get ridiculous. If we're going to alter and put together things in a new way, and I'm not against innovation, then let's make sure that you can do it. I mean, it's all very well, I suppose, for me to start to say, do that when we're having problems with innovation at Mirador. But at least I understand the problem. It seems that the NHS does not understand the problem and that they're not moving in direction to try and address this. So, broadly, what happened was I got hold of the receptionist eventually after 12 minutes, who then said, oh, dearie me, you can't walk, but I can't give you a doctor until late tomorrow. And I said, well, I can't move from where I'm sitting. Well, tough. Call emergency. So I did, and I ended up in hospital. And I had the support of some great guys, by the way. I must say that in the community senses, the chaps came to the rescue, and I'm really very grateful. Because here I am back, and my daughter just phoned, and I said to her, "Darling, don't worry, the old man is going to live for a while yet." Because what I do know is what's wrong with me and what's not wrong with me. And a visit to hospital certainly does that. But there were 2 or 3 other things that they sorted out, but not the administration. And now the NHS. Now the NHS, I'm not talking about the NHS just here. Nationwide is urging doctors to go online. Now, it's not working. It's not working at the moment. So why expand it? I mean, who are these crazy people that get jobs in these organizations and then get totally out of touch with what's happening on the ground? And apart from which, there are a lot of people. It was not until 1993 that we had online. We had the web. Everybody thinks it's been there forever. Well, it hasn't been. 93 isn't so long ago. It's less than 20 years ago. So you figure out when people were born who grew up with the internet and who didn't. And there are lots and lots and lots of people, it's just 50 plus, who didn't grow up with the internet. Okay, we all struggle to try and take courses and to find out and read online how we do this and how we do that. But 9 times out of 10, anything that is put up to tell you how to do something is done by some youngster who understands it and they speak their own language. I can't follow half of what they write or say. It's not done in simple English anymore. They've got their own language and they expect us to understand and then turn everything into go online. Well, it's crazy. And I'm beginning to think that we are being led by crazy people anyway. The way that some things are handled in Westminster and some things are handled locally. I think we talk about mental health. Perhaps we should start looking at the top. Ooh, they'll love me for that. Greensill. What is Greensill, you may say, although that name is coming on everybody's lips. And it's the financial company that has gone bust and involves David Cameron. And it looks as if there is now going to be a full inquiry into the Greensill and Cameron affair to see if, in fact, there was any undue influence placed to try and help this company. And many of us don't have the privilege. I have a semi-privilege, I suppose, in as much as I do know a lot of people because I've been around the world. I've kicked around. I've got to know people one way or another. And I can, from time to time, pick up the phone and ask for help for somebody. It's a natural thing to do. But should David Cameron, or should anybody else for that matter, when they're in a position of high influence, sort of put pressure on to say, look, I need this, and this is a pretty big favor, but you do it for me, and we'll be all right. When does the buck stop? And perhaps the buck should stop with people like me. As I should say to myself, look, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to do things that, according to the law, according to regulation, and according to morals and the protocol. Because am I guilty, as indeed David Cameron could be guilty, of using undue influence from time to time? I probably am. And it should stop. I once, not so very long ago, actually, I say not so long ago, it's well over 10 years ago, handled some media training for corruption in Romania, which is a notoriously corrupt country and has remained so. But everybody was pointing a finger at the top. The Prime Minister was doing this and the President was doing that and so on. But when it got down to it, we asked them, how did you get your driving license? Oh, well, they admitted not by a test because they paid a few euros to the bloke that actually issued them. Oh, any difference? Isn't that corruption? Isn't that influence peddling? So we sometimes shout at the top when, in fact, it should start at the bottom. And I understand more from having traveled around the world what zero tolerance is. If you don't have zero tolerance, you don't get anywhere, believe me. But there we are. That's open to debate and discussion. And that's what this program is all about, open to debate and discussion. Holidays. Now we're getting back into confusion again. Because one of the major online holiday companies has pulled taking bookings until after August, and said the uncertainty around the leisure industry is such that they don't feel that it's going to happen quite the way that everybody says it's going to happen. On the other hand, a couple of the airlines who are in the leisure industry have said, "Oh no, come on, buy tickets, and away you go." So once again, let's hope that everything is fine, but it is confusing again. And once again, it would be good if at the top they would make statements. We don't care if things change on a day-to-day basis. We understand that. You know, we're coming out of lockdown, and everything is looking rosy. And yet, one of the smallest stories tucked away is that there are now areas in the UK where the what's called the Indian variant has got a grip. And the Indian variant, of course, is killing thousands and infecting almost millions in the subcontinent. So it's something we should be concerned about because it can upset the balance. But we're not being given the full information, and a good information service from the government, and for that matter from private industry, would help a great deal. And when we are talking about lockdown or lockup, it has been confirmed, but wait on, because it's not until June the 17th, but that we can dispense with social distancing, so we can hug and kiss again, and we can dispense with the face masks. So that really is coming out of lockdown. And on Monday, of course, we're able to go back into the pubs. Not totally full service as we understand it, but nonetheless, the pubs will be open, and other facilities which we've been panting for and lusting for almost 12 months. So there's going to be a great sense of freedom. And I must say that because we've had a spate of good weather this last week, seeing people outside, and I've done it myself. I sat outside at a table at a local restaurant, a cafe, and had actually I had a Sol beer. I don't think I'd ever had it before. It's delightful, delicious. But just sitting outside and being able to do that has been a release and a pleasure, and I'm sure many people have found that. So if we keep heading in that direction, that's great. Now, the drums of war. There are fears that a full-scale war is going to break out in Israel and the Gaza Strip, in other words, Palestine. They've been sniping at one another for quite some time now, in the last few months, and now it's getting pretty heavy, where Israeli soldiers have sort of taken on the Palestinian, I don't know what they call them, fighters, and the whole thing is escalating towards firing rockets and that sort of thing. So it's one that we could easily sit back and say, oh well, let them get on with it. But once there is a war, anywhere there is a war, it spills over. It spills over and it affects us. So it's much better that actually we hope that this is resolved. But it's a pretty dangerous situation at the moment, and I think one of the things that we need to watch. No, the weather. Of course, we need to know what the weather is. Well, in Lewis, it's going to be raining all day. Only light rain, but it is forecast to rain all day, all the way through. It'll reach 13 degrees, which isn't bad. It's not going to be cold, and the breeze will be light. In which case, it could well be that with an umbrella, it's going to be quite pleasant sitting outside. Little drippy nose this morning. So it's not too bad, and the forecast is for some really decent weather next week. So hang on there, hang in there, as they say, and let's all enjoy being outside. Let's all enjoy having a drink. Let's all enjoy being neighborly and get ready for the day that we can hug and kiss. I have been shocking people again because I am out on the street at 6 o'clock in the morning, and there is the odd person around waiting at a bus stop or walking along with their dog, and I've been saying good morning, and in most cases they've said good morning back with a bright smile on their face. There's one or two scowly, and I don't blame them if they don't like getting up, but generally speaking, we are a nation that will talk to one another if only we think about doing it. So think good morning. So when you get out first thing in the day, whether you know the person passing you or not, say good morning and with a smile. And let's see if we can bring a smile back to the nation. Let's see if we can bring a smile to somebody's face. And it would be nice, wouldn't it, to have a commercial or two. I tell you what, let's look at this one because we haven't played it for a little while.
When you've missed the train, don't despair. Have a nice cup of coffee. And perhaps a mince pie. At the Runaway on Lewes Station. After that, why worry about the next train? The Runaway on Lewes Station. Relaxation beyond compare.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is the power of selling and the economy. Now, the forecast from our own economists is that the UK economy is going to boom ahead, forge ahead. We're going to be industrious people, and wealth is going to grow, and we'll soon start to get out of the huge debt that we've piled up to support us all through COVID. Well, let's hope that continues. But there are some concerning signs which are highlighted in today's Financial Times and stocks actually retreated yesterday because inflation is beginning to rear its ugly head in the United States. And that in turn means that they have to try to cap it. Inflation is a very dangerous thing, and if it goes uncontrolled, then it'll take off, and suddenly what sixpence would buy today, it'll take 2.5 shillings tomorrow. So we've got to be very careful about inflation. And if in fact it's starting to increase in the States, which is still arguably the world's biggest economy, then we have to be careful that it doesn't spring back onto us here. Because unfortunately, although globalization is no longer considered an option for businesses, is the state of the world's biggest economies naturally reflects on the state of all our economies. So if the Americans start to experience problems, we'll start to experience problems. Whoops, there we go with hiccups again. Dear, 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 the old man is falling apart. Never mind. It's good to be back, and I will be back tomorrow. And on Monday, we will start again with Mirador Radio, and we will start to pile our programs up. This is going to be possible because I have tried manfully to do everything myself, and I must say, people have been pouring huge scorn on my head and saying, Keith, you know, you're, in one case, somebody said, you're just like my father. He thought he could do everything himself as well. So stop it. And at long last, enough people have battered me over the head to say, Keith, stop it. As I said, we're beginning to get a team together again where other people can do some of the work, which then makes what we do easier to do, but we're also able to pay attention to the quality of our program, the quality of our work. Just rabbiting on it isn't good enough. So that is where we're at on Mirador, and I hope that you'll join us and stay with us. We are grateful that the amount of people who are watching, and not only through the statistics that we get, but also when I talk to people, they tell me what I said that morning. And there's nothing that suggests anything has indicated that they're watching or that they're part of our operation, they're part of our brave new world, our brave new experiment. So do join us. And I hope that what will happen is that we will develop into the same organization that we were pre-COVID. It's been tough on us. We're getting through it. We are slowly getting now a little bit of government help. So if we can continue with that, so much the better. Okay, I'm going to say toodle pip, and let's end today, as we often do, by letting people know who we are and what we're about. Well, that's it for today. Toodle pip. See you tomorrow.